Hello y'all, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another installment of Tamper Talk. Today I will be discussing how I make tampers with the shell casing on it. It's an Osage orange tamper with a 45. Can you see it? Nope. Didn't think so. So, forgive me if there's a lot of bugs flying around in here. I had the door open and the lights on and they just came in after the big rains. Had the tornado sirens going off here in the Ozarks, in Rolla, Missouri last night, about 10:30. Check the we don't have the television box, so we just have our cell phones if we want something. I mean, we have the box that you put discs in, a compact or a digital video disc, I think is what they call it, a DVD. We don't have cable anyway. So it's pretty exciting, pretty fun. So, smoking the Osage orange piperoni, homemade, and it is a great smoking pipe so far. Still haven't had any issues. Man, I don't know if you guys will be able to see it or not. Well, I wish you could. But just a hairline fracture here, which was what I was concerned about, if this thing would crack. Just right underneath that little knot, and then just a couple little, but I don't believe it's cracked through, and it hasn't affected anything. We smoke it. Tamper Talk. How do you get these to fit so snug? No movement whatsoever. This was not glued on. Snug as a bug in a rug. So, and in it I am smoking something I got from PT Daily. Is a cigar club or cigar house club blend. It's burley. It's aromatic. It's good. And I'm using like a very crude tamper. It's made out of apple wood. It was just a tamper, just a regular old tamper, and then I just picked up a 9mm shell outside while I was smoking, I guess, and I don't remember how it got on there, but I remember I just picked it up and shoved it on, and it's been on ever since. The early days. Anyway, before this video gets 6 hours long, alright, how do I put the shell casings on the tampers? Here are some tampers that I just finished up. Wolverine. Got them all sanded down, got the dottle picks on, got them sanded. They're not buffed out or anything. Well, that light's kind of shiny. That light kind of shines. Walnut, Osage orange, and flooring sample. Not sure. Some of the flooring sample, the names are gone, so I don't know what they are. but the Osage orange is limited quantity. So what I do is I take my caliper, digital caliper, doesn't have to be digital, whatever, and I use the ID side of it, and I measure it. I turn the casing a couple times, and then I tighten it. This little knob up here, you screw it and it tightens it, and I pull it off, and that's how it is. You know, it stays, it won't close. And I just, on my lathe, you know, I got my lathe knife, and I go down until I get to this size, and I don't, after that I don't touch it, nothing. I mean, you know, so it's on the lathe, and I get this part down. This is what I do first. I get this down until it measures out perfectly, and then it takes a while, you know. Touch it with the knife, turn it off. Touch it with the knife, turn it off. Touch it with the knife, turn it off. And then I work on the body, on the handle part, and then obviously you leave the dowel pick what it is, and then you take it off and you sand it. You gotta do that by hand. But the casings take a while with the dowel pick. It takes a while. So something like this wouldn't take as long because it doesn't have the dowel pick. But I mean, this one didn't take long at all. I just shoved it on there. Obviously, I mean, it looks like poo. But, you know, we provide a little lip for the casing. And then on the, right there, on the combo sander, the belt disc sander, on the front wheel right there, it's got a front aluminum, you know, wheel that the belt goes around. You know, the sprockets in the back, that's what turns the whole belt on top, and then it goes, and then right there, you know, it's just an idle wheel, and I just put it on there, and it gives it this curve. But then, you know, then I have to shape it. I mean, it'll eat it away, and it'll burn the wood if you're not careful, because the wood's so hard. So you got to be careful. You mean, a couple times you know what you're doing, and then, you know, then you sand it down, round it up, and, you know, make sure look at it, make sure it's all symmetrical, and then we got to, this one hasn't been polished. This one has not been polished. That one has been polished. And then over here on the drill press, I have a buffing wheel that I only use for polishing brass because it stains anything and everything. There's Simon the shop cat. Come here, Simon, say hello. Hello. Simon the Siamese. Yeah. Look at him, he's a tough cat. He's got scars on his head. He's always fighting. And he's snipped. Likes to fight, I guess. Comes home limping and all booged up. He's a tough old cat. Lovable cat, though. And then, after the casings are buffed out, and I have this buffed out on the buffing wheel, you know, I use Triple E and then white diamond. I don't have any carnauba wax. I don't have a third wheel. But they come out shiny. I mean, they come out nice anyways. I mean, that's a finished one. Anyway, so then I put them on with, I glue them on with some Loctite epoxy instant mix. This it sets in 1 minute. You know, it's got the deal on it. the tube that mixes it as it comes down. Epoxy, it's 2-part epoxy, you know. Mixes it, and I just, you know, squirt a little bit in there. And you can't put too much because it creates, you know, these are so tightly fitted to where they don't move around when they're in there. I mean, that's how you don't want them to move around. The more movement you get, the more likely it is it's going to break loose. So you want it tightly fit, but you can't put too much in there because then it creates, you know, a vacuum and air doesn't get out, and you can't push it down all the way, which I've had happen a couple times, and you got to pull it back out, scrape out the epoxy, start over. So drilling a hole will help out with that in the bottom. It'll give that air and some excess epoxy a place to go, you know, in the tamper. So you drill a hole in there, and then you push it down, and it'll kind of give that air a place to go, or the epoxy, you know. So that's how I do brass shell casings on here. And that is a live primer. Well, it was a live primer. It's not anymore. I was going to leave it. I was going to knock it out, but I just drilled it out instead because I like the look of an unused, you know, primer on the end of a casing. It looks pretty cool. I got a couple of them. They're on the 38 special. I got them from a buddy that reloads. A live primer. It is live. It's like an outward nipple. I think from where I drilled it, and I almost went all the way through it. So that is how, so the 1 minute epoxy, you know, you can only do a couple at a time, and it starts setting up quick. So I'm gonna go with the 5 minute epoxy, and hopefully that'll give me a couple more seconds to get them on there, because sometimes you got to take it off and wipe some of the epoxy off because you put too much in there, and then, you know, run it back down in there, and you don't have much time, so you gotta be moving quick, and it sets up in the tube. That's the main issue. It sets up in the tube, and it gets hard, and then you can't use it anymore, so you got to throw the tube away. But they only give you 2 tubes, so you got to use, you know, I have 5 to do, and hopefully, you know, I don't want to waste that much, because this is like $5-6. So, you know, there's certainly overhead in making Tampers, even if you have free wood, and people give you free casings, you know, and there's overhead. Time is money. You gotta make time. So, at the advice of Cane Rod Piper, if you haven't subbed him, don't know why not, go check him out. Cane Rod Piper, fantastic dude. But mineral oil. He said to rub some mineral oil every once in a while on your stems, and it'll you know, cut down on the oxidation. And so I'm going to do that. I just got it today. It's hard to find mineral oil. Well, I didn't know they sold it as a cutting board oil. I don't know these things. I'm a little pup. I've only been smoking a pipe for 3 years now. Anyway, this video is 14 minutes long right now. So I'm going to light this pipe. Show you guys how I light a pipe. And bid you all a farewell. Adios. Thanks for tuning in.